Good morning. I'm here with Linda and Craig, fresh from the Science Show. Have you still got voices?
Yes, just about.
Yeah, bit croaky. Late start. I'm sorry to make you come do this for first thing the next day, but I think it's good to have a chat about the show after it and see how it goes. So really, now, how was it for you, Craig? Do you want to start? How was it?
Yeah, it was a really unusual. I can't even describe it to a certain degree. It was had just a lovely vibe about the show. There was a really a good feel good factor. And so the 3 days of a show, each day very different. I think traditionally we always think the middle day was busy, which it was slightly higher footfall, which was normal. But the conversations throughout the day were really, if I said stimulating, I don't want to make that sound odd, but it was the quality of visitor to me was the thing that was really intriguing. People wanted to engage, and in previous, perhaps people have, as they walked past, the eyes have been down at the carpet, so we don't make eye contact. This felt a little bit more like I would like to engage, I would like to talk, and perhaps that was the area we were in, the education area. We had sign writing going on, we had a rap going on, we had architectural film going on, the neon creation was going on. So there was a little bit more opportunity to have a hands-on. So perhaps that created a little bit more engagement.
Yeah, maybe. What do you think, Linda? How was it for you?
I echo Craig's points as well. It was certainly a different vibe than perhaps we were expecting, but in a pleasant, positive way. I also agree that interaction was more purposeful. It was considered conversation rather than polite small talk and a very brief interaction. Craig and I were able to take the opportunity to speak to existing members and have those valued conversations that perhaps we're unable to have in a team setting or via telephone or email, but also an opportunity to engage with individuals and organisations that aren't currently members. There was a lot of intrigue with regards to who we are, what we do, how we can best benefit them as individuals, their organisations, but also the work that we're doing for the wider community. So for me, yes, absolutely, interaction was positive.
Good stuff. I mean, the print show is well established now, but I still felt overall it was one of the most vibrant, busy, biggest. And I kind of like to say that's because they've incorporated the science show into it. They've created this. What do you think? Do you think the science show's really added something to the mix there?
I think the one thing that was really noticeable from last year, I know last year was kind of a dip test, but they felt that there was barriers last year. Even just a simple change of colour in the carpet, everything followed. It was a nice flow. So you went from one area to the next, and it all felt very much one big show, and everything linked in well. So again, for me, it was the organisers had done their research, and I think they actually they hit the nail on the head for me.
Okay, but I agree with you absolutely. And there aren't that many companies I feel that are sort of exclusively print. You know, from all the way across the floor, everyone has an involvement with the sign industry in some way, pretty much. So
Yeah,
I think that
and
helps to boost it.
there is that crossover, and for me, I think that's probably why we had the engagement. People who have traditionally been in print and have customers now talking to them about creating banners, creating fascias. It's the knowledge set. They want to make sure the standards of the product they're producing. And I also think that was part of the reason we had a lot of people on the stand. Linda and David Derbyshire spent a lot of time putting together actually some promotional literature called the Knowledge Hub, and that we had a set of 6 brochures that kind of related to questions we've had over the last few months, maybe 6 months, and the amount of people who actually came and originally went to take one brochure, oh, you've got, and then that engagement happened from the discussion from the document, and it was great. And am I allowed to make a shout out to Print for actually helping us out? Because again, very, very short notice, delivered. Typical company needs something for an exhibition, and they sorted us out. But again, that's that community spirit. Everybody helping each other out, and we saw that even at setup on the stand. So again, I don't know what was given to people on the day, but whatever it was, we need more of that Kool-Aid.
I mean, as I was walking past, there was always something going on. I mean, Linda, you were having lots of conversations with people.
Absolutely, I talked a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
But again, in to evolve Craig's point with regards to the sort of fluidity of the show, there was a natural transition into the signage area, which ultimately led to natural transitions into conversations and topics of discussions that perhaps sign makers were bringing about to us, but equally also individuals from the print industry. So it gave us a platform to be able to discuss the transferable skills and how that we do have those sort of commonalities and those overlaps. And in essence, although we are two separate industries, there are many of occasion where we are one, and that certainly adds to the diversity of our industry, the signage industry. So yes, we were able to expand conversations, like we always say, to that wider stakeholder community, to realise, well, actually there are instances where we do come together and perhaps we're not even necessarily aware of that in our everyday working life, where we do cross over those lines from print to signage and then back again. But equally, what was also a positive for Craig and I, we were able to bring together members and non-members to go, actually, are you aware of? We're able to signpost and make introductions as well. So that was great for us with regards to our mindset about establishing and evolving our community. We certainly were able to achieve that over the last 3 days.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that was quite nice, the fact that we could have a number of the directors coming onto the stand to talk to it, because they're, again, I got to be careful to use the phrase, they're at the coalface, they're dealing with the day-to-day activities. So Ian William Smith was kind enough to give a day up, and he could engage people. And there was a conversation that he had with someone who fabricated boxing tapes. So there was something that tied in with the bit for his business and sending stuff in. And you never know when those type of conversations, if you're not there, those conversations don't happen. And then Sean from Fuji came across on the last day. And again, the conversations he introduced us to people that maybe we wouldn't have actually naturally spoken to. And that's the thing I think people forget. It's not just about buying, it's that networking opportunity where you have like-minded people from a broad section having the opportunity to have a chat and not feel pressured to move on to the next discussion.
I think talking to people around the show and having that conversation about the BSGA and what you do, and people do ask the question, well, what do you get from being part of the association? Well, I thought this was a perfect example of what you do. You talked about the Knowledge Hub materials, but also just being there and supporting and promoting and encouraging the industry to be the best it can be.
And again, this was one of the first shows I've had when I didn't feel I had to justify the association. That sounds a bit strange, I have to justify the association. People were genuinely interested. And it does seem as though we've gone past that stage of you only look after the senior players within the association. Now, the reason the association was set up was because of those senior players. You can't play, that is our history. But the fact is, things have changed over this last decade and a half, where the industry itself is made up of smaller, more niche sign companies who actually still need to have a sounding board. And I think they appreciate that. We're not necessarily coming up with the ideas for them, but we are a sanity check. We have people who are doing what they are doing, so we understand. And again, you use that word empathy. I can actually sit and talk and understand what the pressure points are. Maybe I can make a suggestion, and maybe I kind of get you to focus on one part that's stopping you progressing. But you could then have the conversation with Linda, who's doing exactly the same thing in her own business, and say, oh, when I had that happen, this is what I did to get past that stumbling block.
Interesting. And one of the things I really loved, and you touched on this a little earlier, Craig, was the hands-on sign making activity. How do you feel, Linda, about people having the opportunity to really have a go at this sort of thing and try and inspire people to get into the industry in that way?
It can't not be a fantastic opportunity. It's bringing it to life, for want of a better term. It's making it more accessible, more visible. It's enabling individuals to be able to have that hands-on experience. So rather than even organisations that perhaps don't engage in said activities themselves, but to be able to see it in action, is to go, oh, okay, I understand how that works now, all the processes that are involved in that, or just to get tips on best practice, or to be able to speak to individuals, like Craig has quite rightly said, who are engaged, who are craftspeople, who are incredibly skilled individuals, to go, I have an issue with this, how do I overcome that? It gave all of us an opportunity to speak amongst our community, like-minded issues, problems, concerns, or best practice sharing. So how can it not be a positive interaction? And equally with the print show and the sign show working collaboratively, that transition to go, okay, these are the pieces of machinery, these are the organisations that can produce said materials and medias and so on and so forth. And here's a glimpse of how you can put it into action, and in essence, how you can take that to market. For me, it works incredibly well.
It was lovely because with David from Sign Mode, when he was doing his sign writing, he was engaging with people who had perhaps been in the industry, had seen it done, and were intrigued to see it was still there. So he had some wonderful conversations. You talked to Tony with the neon and the fact that people had the chance to touch the glass, to heat the glass, to feel that how you manipulated a piece of glass. Even I got really nervous having a go. I don't know why I felt nervous, but it was just but I really enjoyed it. And his clear passion for the industry, himself and Catherine obviously are great advocates for our industry and for the neon sector. And then I spoke with Chris from CVI, who was doing the vehicle wrapping, and he came at it from a slightly different way, because he said he was getting people coming onto the stand, probably from the print sector, who had no knowledge of wrapping, and probably myself and Linda are thinking, well, it's been around for decades. We've all been doing it. But he said some of the questions, he was shocked that they were so base.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps we need to address some of those questions. So, the fact that he noticed that, maybe we need to engage a little bit more. What can we do to kind of help that process and make sure the standards that he's trying to set, and we'd like to see set in the trade and are adopted across the board? Because the last thing we want to do is someone coming in and dragging the sector down. I know that sounds a little bit, maybe teacherish, if that makes sense. But we're all in it to actually give the trade as good a name as possible. So if we're noticing something happening, how do we address that? And if it means more schooling, more education, more process, that we have somebody in our in our organisation that would be very good at that. I'll doff my cap.
Interesting.
I think the point that we're making there is it's creating that contextual understanding for individuals. Like I say, there are organisations that are purely based on providing materials and medias, like I say, but are unaware of actually what the end product looks like. So that can only enhance them in their roles with their understanding of how they fit into the process and how the chain continues thereafter. So for us, and certainly as an association, but also individuals within the sign industry, we have a responsibility, certainly for those of us who've been in it slightly longer than we would necessarily want to say out loud on occasion, is for us to be able to support those earlier generations that are coming, those next generations, but also to solidify the generations that still exist and that are still providing said services. It's in essence to celebrate the diversity that we speak so much about. Well, what we've been able to do over the last 3 days is to be able to see that in action. So it's one thing saying the signage is incredibly diverse and we're a huge eclectic mix, but actually, okay, yes, look, we've had neon, we've had traditional sign writing, we've had vehicle wrapping, we've had architectural wrapping, we've had the alliance and the allegiance with the print industry as well. All of that within a walking distance of one another, and that's just a snapshot of what we do on a daily basis. So that was a fantastic opportunity to bring that all under one roof and to be able to celebrate our diversity.
And that's kind of what I was going to lead on to finish off with, really, is how are we going to take that energy forward?
Well, again, for me, this is where you've had visitors come to the show. The fact that we now need to give them a vehicle to kind of talk about what else they would like to see. What vehicles do we create to carry on? Because we're here to support. We offer up days where they can visit. We do display days with the supply chain. Again, William Smith will be at that display day in October. Will be another cross section of suppliers. Is that what the industry wants? We're assuming that that's what we want. So hopefully the show gives us the engagement. They can come back and talk to us. You don't have to be a member of the association to express a view, to come and have a conversation. We'd love you to be, because that's the way we survive. We're not for profit, but we're there for the benefit of the community. So if you've got an idea, share it with us. We'll share it with the organisers. We'll share it with the trade. Then perhaps we can actually create more vehicles, more days, more experiences that the trade feel are really beneficial. You're in it, guys. You tell us.